There comes a moment in every person's life when their dignity is tested, not with a punch, not with a loud confrontation, but with a subtle jab, a comment, a gesture, a tone that cuts deep. And in that moment, many people choose silence. Not because they are weak, not because they didn't feel the sting, but because they were taught that silence keeps the peace. But here's the truth: every time you allow disrespect, you give permission for it to continue. In this talk, I want to pull back the curtain on that silence, why we stay quiet, what it costs us, and how we reclaim our voice not through aggression but through unwavering self-respect, because the strongest people aren't the ones who shout the loudest. They're the ones who know exactly when to speak up. Silence after disrespect doesn't erase the moment that hurt you. It doesn't make the comment disappear. It doesn't magically restore your dignity. What it does is teach the other person that their behavior is acceptable. When someone disrespects you and you choose not to address it, they learn a lesson, but it's the wrong one. They learn that you are someone who can be mistreated without consequences. They learn that your comfort, your boundaries, and your feelings hold less value than their convenience or ego. That silence becomes a quiet permission slip for continued disrespect. Many people stay silent because they believe they are taking the high road. They want to avoid conflict. They don't want to seem dramatic, emotional, or petty. Society has conditioned us to believe that letting it go is a sign of maturity and strength, but there is a difference between letting go and letting someone walk over you. Real strength is not about enduring disrespect, it is about knowing your worth well enough to defend it. When disrespect happens, you feel it instantly. Your body tells you, your chest tightens, your stomach drops, your heart rate changes. This is your internal alarm system, the psychological boundary that has just been crossed. Ignoring that signal creates internal conflict. You begin to question yourself. Did I overreact? Should I have said something? Why do they think they can talk to me like that? That self-questioning slowly eats away at your confidence. You might not notice it at first, but over time, your silence becomes self-betrayal. Every time you remain quiet after someone disrespects you, you dim your own voice a little more. You send yourself the message that your feelings don't matter enough to be spoken aloud. You teach yourself to tolerate situations that hurt you, and tolerance becomes habit. Before you know it, you become someone who endures instead of someone who chooses. You become someone who adjusts to disrespect instead of someone who demands respect. It's important to recognize that silence doesn't just influence how others treat you, it influences how you see yourself. If you constantly minimize your discomfort to make others comfortable, you begin to believe that you are second place to everyone else. You start lowering your standards not because your heart wants to, but because your fear forces you. Fear of conflict, fear of being judged, fear of losing people. But the most dangerous loss is losing yourself while trying to keep others. There is a myth that speaking up is rude or confrontational, but communication is not aggression. Setting boundaries is not disrespect. Calling out harmful behavior is not negativity. Your voice is your protection. It is how you draw the line between what is okay and what is unacceptable. Without that line, people will push until they reach the limit, and if you have never shown them a limit, they will assume there isn't one. Some individuals test boundaries on purpose. They push to see what they can get away with. If you stay quiet, they advance. If you finally speak up after a long pattern of silence, they act surprised and accuse you of changing. But the truth is, you are not changing, you are finally showing up for yourself. You are choosing courage over comfort. Even when you choose silence, the disrespect doesn't disappear, it returns, it grows. And eventually it becomes the standard. What was once a single comment becomes a tone, a behavior, a complete dynamic. Disrespect rarely stops on its own, it expands until it is confronted. Boundaries are not walls meant to keep people out, they are rules that show others how to treat you. Every relationship you have, personal, professional, romantic, or social, is shaped by the boundaries you set or the boundaries you refuse to set. The truth is, people don't automatically know what you find disrespectful or hurtful. They learn from your reactions. They learn from how you respond when they cross a line. And if you never show that a line exists, they will assume there isn't one. Boundaries are the blueprint of your self-respect. They communicate your expectations without needing long explanations. From the moment you interact with someone, they are reading you and learning from you. If you allow people to speak to you with sarcasm, condescension, or manipulation without objecting, they interpret that silence as approval. If you always say yes even when you are exhausted, overwhelmed, or uncomfortable, they believe you don't mind being stretched thin. If you laugh off a disrespectful joke, they think it's harmless. Behavior that is not corrected is behavior that will be repeated. People push until they hit a limit, and you are responsible for making that limit known. Setting a boundary is an act of clarity. It is saying, "This is where I stand. This is what I will accept. This is what I won't." There is no need to be aggressive or emotional to create that clarity. Boundaries can be communicated with calm, firm, and direct language. They do not exist to punish others. They exist to protect your peace, your dignity, and your values. When someone reacts negatively to your boundaries, it often reveals how much they benefited from you not having them. For many people, the fear of setting boundaries comes from wanting to be liked. We worry that if we speak up, we will lose relationships. We worry people will think we are too sensitive or difficult. But if someone requires you to sacrifice your comfort and self-worth just to maintain the connection, that relationship was already unhealthy. Healthy people respect boundaries because they respect you. They might not always love limitations, but they will honor them because they care about your well-being. Those who push back or trip you reveal their true intentions. Boundaries also help you identify the role you play in your own life. Without them, you become a background character in someone else's story, fulfilling their needs while neglecting your own. You may find yourself constantly giving, pleasing, and accommodating, hoping that your kindness will eventually come back to you. But without boundaries, kindness becomes exploitation. You start to feel drained, resentful, and invisible because you are investing in people who are not investing in you. Boundaries ensure that your energy is distributed to the right places, to relationships that are mutual and respectful. There is power in being able to walk away when a boundary is continuously disrespected. That decision says more about your worth than any argument or explanation ever could. It is not your job to convince others to treat you well. Your job is to choose environments where respect is the norm, not the exception. Boundaries make that choice easier because they reveal who values you and who only values what you provide. It's important to remember that boundaries do not just protect you from others, they protect you from betraying yourself. Every time you enforce a boundary, you strengthen your identity. You reinforce your standards. You prove to yourself that you are worth standing up for. Boundaries are not selfish, they are necessary. They are how you preserve your emotional, mental, and even physical space. They are the invisible armor that allows you to move through the world without losing yourself in the process. Self-respect is not something you declare once and then forget about. It is something you must demonstrate consistently through your actions, especially in the moments when your dignity is challenged. Fear of conflict is one of the biggest reasons people remain silent after disrespect. They worry about what others will think, how the situation might escalate, or whether they will be judged for speaking up. But when fear becomes the voice that makes decisions for you, your self-respect becomes quieter and quieter until you can barely hear it anymore. You start prioritizing the comfort of others over the preservation of your own value. Self-respect means recognizing that your voice deserves to be heard. It means reminding yourself that you are not here to shrink, to apologize for existing, or to tolerate behavior that chips away at your confidence. Every time you ignore your own needs to avoid conflict, you are telling yourself that those needs don't matter. You are telling yourself that peace, even false peace, is more important than your emotional well-being. But there is no real peace in silence that hurts you. There is no harmony in a relationship where one person is always swallowing their pain to keep the other comfortable. Conflict is not the enemy, disrespect is. Speaking up doesn't make you difficult, it makes you honest. It communicates clearly what is acceptable and what is not. When you choose bravery over fear, you reinforce that you are someone who stands up for themselves. That message is not only for the person you confront, it is for you. It rewires your inner dialogue. It tells you that you are worthy of being treated with care, with honor, with fairness. That message becomes a pillar of your character, strengthening you each time you act on it. People who fear conflict often think that silence will preserve the relationship. They believe that not making the issue a big deal will maintain closeness, but closeness built on suppressed resentment is fragile and fake. It eventually cracks. The longer you stay quiet, the heavier the silence becomes. You start replaying moments in your head, wondering why you didn't speak up, why you allowed yourself to be dismissed or devalued. That inner frustration grows and slowly transforms into bitterness. Instead of protecting the relationship, silence poisons it from the inside. When your self-respect is louder than your fear, you stop internalizing disrespect and start addressing it. You begin to understand that your feelings are not burdens, they are signals. They exist to guide you, protect you, empower you. You are allowed to express discomfort. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to correct someone's behavior when it crosses a line. That does not make you confrontational, it makes you someone who honors their own humanity. The truth is, most people will treat you based on what you accept. If you stay silent after being disrespected, some people will interpret that silence as permission. They will push a little further each time because fear rewards them while self-respect punishes you. The moment you choose to speak up, everything changes, your energy changes, your relationships change. The way people approach you changes. It is not because you become harder, it is because your standards become clearer. People will rise to meet those standards or fall away. Either outcome protects your peace. Choosing self-respect also means embracing the possibility of discomfort. It means trusting that you can handle someone being upset with you. It means knowing that the cost of losing yourself is far higher than the cost of any confrontation. Your voice is a tool, your boundaries are a language, your courage is a shield. When you use them, you lead your life with strength rather than fear. You show up as a person who values their self, worth enough to defend it without waiting for anyone else to give permission. Speaking up is often misunderstood. People assume it means confrontation, aggression, or creating drama. They imagine raised voices, arguments, or tension that spirals out of control. But speaking up is a skill, a form of emotional intelligence that communicates truth with clarity and strength. It doesn't require yelling or anger. It requires self-control, awareness, and conviction. The strongest voices are not the loudest ones, they are the ones spoken with certainty. When you speak up, your goal is not to overpower someone else, it is to honor yourself. Learning to speak up starts with understanding your emotions instead of suppressing them. When someone crosses a line, your body reacts first. You feel the tension, the shift in energy, the sudden discomfort. That is your internal signal that something is wrong. Many people ignore that signal because they have spent years being told to stay quiet, avoid conflict, or be polite at any cost. They fear the consequences of being authentic more than the consequences of being mistreated. But ignoring your emotions does not make them disappear. They stay inside you, building pressure, waiting for a moment to be acknowledged. To speak up effectively, you must detach your message from your emotions. You address the behavior, not attack the person. You communicate the impact, not the intention. Instead of blaming or accusing, you describe clearly what was wrong and what must change. That is how you create accountability without hostility. You don't have to match someone's disrespect with more disrespect. Assertiveness is the balance between silence and aggression, the place where your confidence lives. There will always be people who misinterpret assertiveness as attitude or hostility. That usually happens when they are used to you being quiet. They are not reacting to your tone, they are reacting to your growth. When you finally speak up after being silent for too long, They may claim you are overreacting or making a big deal out of nothing. But the truth is, they are upset because they can no longer control the narrative or take advantage of your silence. Their discomfort is not your responsibility, their respect is. Speaking up teaches others how to interact with you. It teaches them that your space has value, that your feelings have weight, that your presence deserves consideration. You are not required to justify your boundaries. You are not required to explain your worth. You are simply required to communicate it. Over time, this creates relationships built on transparency rather than guessing games or unspoken resentment. People learn that you are someone who will not pretend everything is fine when it isn't. Being vocal about disrespect also protects your mental and emotional health. When you address things as they happen, you prevent negativity from accumulating inside you. You avoid the emotional exhaustion of pretending. You stay aligned with who you are instead of bending yourself into shapes that please others. The more you stand up for yourself, the stronger your inner voice becomes. You no longer guess your feelings or apologize for having standards. You step out of guilt and into power. The skill of speaking up requires practice. You may not get it perfect every time. You may feel nervous, shaky, or unsure, but courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means you act despite the fear. Each time you use your voice, you take back a piece of yourself that silence has stolen. You become a person who acknowledges their own value even when others do not. You stop allowing people to define what you deserve. You define it yourself. Protecting your dignity is not something that happens in a single moment. It is a lifelong responsibility, one that requires awareness, courage, and consistency. There will always be people who test your boundaries, challenge your worth, or attempt to diminish your value, intentionally or not. How you respond to those moments shapes not only how others see you, but how you see yourself. Dignity is the foundation of self-respect. It is your internal reminder that you deserve to be treated with consideration, kindness, and truth. When you protect your dignity, you protect the essence of who you are. Every human being deserves respect, but not everyone will automatically give it. Some people only recognize respect when it is demanded. You cannot assume others understand your standards simply because you have them. You must show them through action. When someone disrespects you and you speak up, you are not being defensive. You are honoring your own value. When you walk away from situations that drain you or diminish you, you are not being dramatic. You are safeguarding your peace. Protecting your dignity means refusing to shrink yourself just to make someone else more comfortable. The choices you make in these moments define your identity more than your successes or achievements ever could. Success can be taken away, image can be destroyed, but dignity is internal. It does not depend on other people's approval. It depends on your willingness to stand up for yourself when it matters. You don't need an audience to prove your worth. You don't need validation to defend your pride. The quiet decisions you make, when no one is watching, are the decisions that build integrity. Dignity is built in private long before it is tested in public. Many people struggle to protect their dignity because they fear losing relationships. They worry about isolation, rejection, or being misunderstood. But any relationship that requires you to sacrifice your self-respect is a relationship that is already broken. Love should not cost you your dignity. Friendship should not cost you your dignity. Work should not cost you your dignity. If someone truly values you, they will honor your boundaries, listen when something hurts you, and adjust their behavior because they care about your experience. Respect is non-negotiable. Anyone who cannot give it does not deserve a place in your life. Protecting your dignity also means learning how to forgive yourself for the times you did not. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to grow stronger. You are allowed to choose better for yourself now, even if you didn't before. Every moment is a new opportunity to raise your standards. You are not chained to the version of yourself who once tolerated disrespect. Growth often begins the second you say no more. There is a calm confidence that comes from guarding your dignity. You stop over-explaining, you stop seeking reassurance, you stop chasing people who treat you like an option. You become grounded in who you are and what you deserve. You start attracting people who respect you naturally because they can feel the strength in how you carry yourself. Dignity creates a presence, one that doesn't need to demand respect because it commands it. Life will always bring challenges, and disrespect will surface from time to time. But when you protect your dignity, those moments do not break you. They reveal you. They reveal your standards. They reveal your boundaries. They reveal your strength. Every single time you defend your dignity, you reinforce your belief that you are worthy of honor, kindness, and truth. You build a relationship with yourself that no one else can damage.